Okay, so we have Modern Cube up, so I'm really excited to jump into one of these. Um, it's still nowhere near as good as Vintage Cube. I haven't really looked at the card list, but I'm just guessing. Seems like an even more creature-based version of the Legacy Cube, but it's Cube, and I love it, so I'm going to be making plenty of these videos for you guys. All right, let's see what we got. Smuggler's Copter seems like a great option in this cube. It's colorless, so we don't have to commit yet, and this, I would assume, is a very creature-based cube. So I'm probably going to take that. Copter's just an excellent card. But yeah, other than that, uh, I would probably go for maybe like an Arc Trail. Mono Red's probably decent. Um, Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing like insane here besides this copter. I think it's pretty clearly the pick here. Um, yeah. So this is the first time I'm drafting this modern cube. I've drafted plenty legacy and holiday cube, so I'm by no means a novice, but uh, I will be kind of figuring out sort of the archetypes that work in this cube as we go. Um, yeah, I think copter is the way to go here. I love cube season, and now that I can record videos relatively easily, I think I'll be dishing out a lot of them. Alright, what else we got? Okay, well, we still have some of the blue hits from Legacy Cube. Venser and Frost Titan are obviously great. Frost Titan's just like an excellent finisher that is also realistic to cast. I love Venser too, but I'm probably just going to go with Frost Titan here, even though it's an expensive card, which I tend to value a lot less in cubes in general. The Titans are some of the only really premium expensive cards I feel like that you can prioritize and pick early. Other cards, this pack is a lot better, I think. Lands are obviously always pretty good. I like green. It seems like pretty decent in this cube. I don't know how many artifacts there are. It doesn't seem like this is really an artifact mana cube, but Reclamation Sage is always decent in cube. Yeah, other than that, I think probably monocolor is going to be relatively good in this cube. I'm basically going to be drafting this as if it's more of a legacy cube to start, just without, the cards that are legal in legacy. Yeah, so we're going to continue, I think, with the blue here. I have no idea why this card's in the cube. It seems terrible to me. But yeah, there's definitely some good green in this pack. I am a huge fan of mana elves, no matter what, no matter how quote-unquote bad they are. Mono white, pretty good. I'm just trying to draft, the aggressive monocolor decks that tend to work in Legacy Cube as well. Garruk is obviously very good. Hestermite, I think there's combos with it, but it's still just a fine blue tempo card. Yeah, this is a tough pick, but I think I'm just gonna have to go with the blue card and stay consistent. Sour Temptation's probably comparable in power level to stuff like Thalia and Elves, but it's already in blue, which we are looking to be in. So, all right, what do we got here? Tree Speaker, very good. Definitely am seeing green be pretty open here, and I love the green decks in cube. Porcelain Legionnaire, also very good. Crystal Shard, also very good, and it's in blue. Frost Lynx seems decent, but I don't think I'm going to be taking it here. Definitely way worse than Manowar. So yeah, I'm between Legionnaire, Crystal Shard, and Tree Speaker here. I'm probably going to go with Shard. Legionnaire, I don't think will wheel, because it's colorless, but I would obviously want it if we're building sort of a blue tempo deck. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with blue, try to cut that off pretty well, and see where we can go with this. Alright, well, we got Dissolve. We got a Geist of Saint Traft, which I really like. Tireless Tracker, it's like a little bit, it keeps green sort of in my mind as like potentially being open. So it does look like there's, a few mana rocks in here, which is interesting. Because in the Legacy Cube, they're really cut pretty heavily. Dissolve is again another blue card. I think I might just go with the theme of sticking to one color and seeing what else is being passed. I tend to think that in these creature-based cubes, sticking to almost a monocolor deck tends to pay off very well. I do love the Geist. I think it's a better card, but I think I'm just going to go with the Dissolve. This is sort of a series of boring picks staying to one color. Alright, so we might be getting paid off a little bit by sticking to one color. I think this Glint Sleeve Siphoner is probably the best card in the pack. I might be overrating it. I've only played it in Aether Revolt Limited, but it seems like a very good cube card to me. Potentially draws you a card. 2 mana, 2/1 Menace is like a totally fine rate, and it would go great in sort of a blue-black tempo deck. So I think that's what we're going to pick here. Rashmi seems good, but I don't think it's amazing. I mean, it's a 4-drop, and like there's plenty of amazing 4-drops in Cube, whereas 2-drops are definitely at a premium. All right. So Imposing Sovereign is a very good white weenie card. White-blue tempo is also good. So is Figure of Destiny, although it's more mono-white than Imposing is. I like the Enclave Cryptologist, but it's not totally like jiving with what we're trying to do in this deck, I think. So I'm inclined here to take... Figure of Destiny is a better white weenie card, but Imposing Sovereign would probably be a better blue-white card, especially because we don't have fixing yet. So I think I'm going to take the Sovereign, although this is definitely a close pick. Okay, what do we have here? Spiketail Drinkling I really like. I think it's a very solid card. We also have a Dragon Hunter, so White Weenie seems to be open. But I think we're just going to go with the blue card. We've been going with the blue card whenever we can, basically. The decent blue card that we would want to play. Shadow Mage is definitely very good, especially if we ended up blue-black tempo. But I'm kind of straddling the line here in my thinking between blue-white and blue-black, and even potentially mono-blue, so I'm just going to go with the blue card. All right, Moloku. I don't love Moloku in Legacy and Vintage Cube, despite the fact that a lot of people do like her, just because she's expensive, and so even when she does her thing, it's hard to set up. I don't know if opposition in this... Oh, no, opposition can't be in this cube. It's a modern cube. What am I thinking? But I think I'm just going to take Moloku here. She seems probably a lot better in only a modern cube. All right, Venser Wield. That's shocking to me. Clearly, it seems like nobody is in blue. I would take this Night Veil Spectre easily, but I think I'm just going to take, obviously, the Venser here. All right, so we have Thalia. So we're looking to be almost mono-blue, but with some good aggressive white creatures here. I would want this Terramorphic Expense, but Thalia is just a very good card, so I'm just going to take that. Alright, Frostlink Skimmer, and we might play that, we might not, ignoring the red-green cards. I don't love Shapeshifter. I mean, I don't exactly know what it does, but it seems like just a slow clone. So I'll take Saheeli Rai for the potential there. Alright, I don't like the double white, so I think I'm actually going to take this Ripper in case we do end up blue-black. Yeah. But mono-white seems open, mono-blue seems open. Blue-black does seem pretty open to me, but possibly not just black. I think like maybe blue-black is more open than black is. So we are just going to stick right now to blue, probably white. All right, there's a lot of good blue cards in this pack. Both Snapcaster Mages, but we don't have any instants or sorceries yet besides Dissolve. So I'm probably just going to go with sort of the best like tempo-y, disruptive, aggressive card, which is Vendilion Click. Prairie Stream I'll definitely love if it wheels. Metamorph is obviously very powerful. Thalia would be great. There's a ton of stuff for our deck in this pack, but I'm probably going to go with the Click. I'm between, I think, Click and Snapcaster Mage, but I'm not sure how many good instants and sorceries there are. In this cube, a lot of those tend to be more of the legacy legal ones, although, of course, there's still plenty of legal and modern. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Click here. Alright, Cryptic Command. That's a good instant or sorcery, so I think we'll be snapping this up. Potentially leaning towards mono-blue here, but not necessarily. I mean, I definitely value having these aggressive tempo-y 2-drops. Yeah, and white does seem to be open. Batterskull is obviously very good, but I think Cryptic is like probably a better card than Batterskull, and very good in this sort of tempo-y disruptive blue deck that we're doing. Yeah. So I think we're going to take that. Without fixing, it becomes hard to both play Cryptic Command and these white aggressive creatures, although definitely not impossible. Okay, what do we got? Spell Queller, very good. Mistраven, very good. It's an interesting question. Spell Queller I could see wheeling, although I wouldn't count on it by any means. I hate to pass a Noble Hierarch, but I think I must. Mistраven is definitely good, but we have some decent 4s already. Good with Crystal Shard. And I'm not sure if I want to be white, but our curve is looking very high if we're just blue. I'm not sure how many good aggressive blue creatures there are. This card would be fine. This card is heavy white, but I'm definitely between Spell Queller and Mistраven. I think I'm going to go with the Spell Queller and probably commit to being blue-white here. We can, basically splash the white cards too if we need to be. All right, out of card wastes I think we'll take. There's definitely a few, okay, sort of average blue and white aggressive cards here, but they're definitely not sort of the premium stuff I'm looking for, so I'm definitely going to pick up a land here. I think that will really help our mana. And it's an untapped land, which is huge. All right, Path to Exile. So I think we're pretty happily in blue-white from this point on. It looks like Esper is pretty much the open colors here. Blue might be a little bit less open coming from the left side, just because we're taking a lot of blue spells, but blue was so open, I think, that we might have been passing a decent amount too. And something like Venser Wheeling makes me think that, there can't be literally no one else in the table at blue, so it's probably the person to our left or the person right after them. If I'm saying directions incorrectly, just correct me in your mind. Them or the person after them that is the only other person in blue at the table, and so Venser probably passed and then basically came around without anybody wanting him. Teferi seems okay. I don't love it. It's triple blue. It's not even that impactful of a spell, but I don't want the double white for Silverblade. Chain to the Rocks we can't play. Careful Consideration is not really for this type of deck, so I think I'll just take Teferi here, leave him in the board for now. Alright, Phantasmal Bear is definitely what we're looking for in terms of aggressive creatures to go in this deck. So is Phyrexian Revoker, although I think it's probably... it's obviously at its best in something like Vintage Cube, Holiday Cube, where, it basically disrupts everything you want. And a 1-drop is pretty valuable. Phantasmal Bear, if the opponent is targeting it with a card that's playable in Cube, likely that card was already going to kill something like a 1-mana 2/2. So this is basically a 1-mana 2/2 in blue. There are a few, creatures with activated abilities and stuff, but that's not a huge worry. Alright, Aether Adept is great. I don't know if Silent Departure is really that good in Cube. Odrix seems fine, we got a lot of flyers, but I'm just going to take another Mana War type creature. We're definitely looking for fixing here. Alright, well, we'll get that Prairie Stream. Yeah, so all of the blue and white good cards are taken out of this pack, so that kind of makes me think that the people who we were passing to in pack 1 are relatively in blue and white. Lawkeeper doesn't seem like a good enough card to play in this cube. I'll take Elspeth. Elspeth is very good. Alright, Mistраven came back, so we definitely know what kind of deck we're building here. Delver is pretty much unplayable in this deck, but I don't like the double white, and Revolt seems tough to enable here. I think I'm just going to take Chivalry for potential fixing. We've got plenty of playables. We have 20 minus 2, so 18 playables here. Our curve is a little bit high for a tempo-y deck, but, again, we just have, solid cards, I think. Yeah, definitely looking for even more fixing. We did pass a Seachrome Coast, unfortunately. This Cloistered Youth seems like a decent aggressive creature we could use. We're basically relying on white for our 2-drops, which makes it so that we kind of have to split our mana evenly between white and blue, just because our deck doesn't really function very well if we can't produce white on turn 2. But then again, we have all these double blue and even a triple blue spell later, so the mana in this deck is going to be very stretched unless we can pick up a lot of fixing. Unfortunately. Alright, we'll take this Chain to the Rocks. Maybe we end up in red somehow. Alright, let's see what we got here. Reflector Mage, more Mana Wars. Dissipate is pretty good. There must be Shocklands, but I don't believe we've seen Hallowed Fountain, so it could potentially be in this pack. Taking another Manowar. Manowars don't stack particularly well, and we already have like 3+ of them. So I might be inclined to take Dissipate here. Then, counterspells aren't great in a deck like this, but there really is no fixing unless we're hoping to pick up a Hallowed Fountain or something like that. I guess a Sacred Foundry would also work there. And Mana Tithe is definitely good, but I don't think it's... it could be better than either of the cards we would take here. But I don't think it is. I think, although it is early in Cube season, people never play around Mana Tithe early in Cube season. I think I actually might go with Mana Tithe here. It seems like a little unconventional for a first pick, but I think it's pretty good in our deck, and I think either Reflector Mage or Dissipate will likely wheel. Alright, Celestial Colonnade, we're definitely taking that here. It's more fixing, and it's also just a great late-game threat to deal the last 4 to 8 damage. So we're going to take the Colonnade. Spell Pierce we might play, Bygone Bishop we might play, but we're honestly not looking to pick up either of these, and the rest of the cards in the pack I don't think are really playable for us, so we'll take this Colonnade. One more blue-white fixing land would really be ideal for me. So here's an interesting choice. Frostwalker is fragile and not the best 2-drop, but it does hit hard if the opponent doesn't put stuff down, or if we can bounce stuff with our Mana Wars. Whirler Rogue is a very powerful card, especially in blue. Blue doesn't usually get cards like this, but in terms of our curve, I think I just have to take Frostwalker here. We just want a lower curve, and Whirler Rogue is not really going to do as much for us, being a 4-drop. We have like tons of 3s. This Crystal Shard is sort of a 4. We have plenty of 4s. We've got some expensive spells. I think our entire deck sort of just gets multiplicatively better if we hit our 2-drops, so I'm going to take this Frostwalker, even though that might seem like a weird decision. Alright, there's not much for us here. Pilgrim's Eye fixes mana, but it does so at a point where it's too late to really take advantage of the tempo you get with proper mana, which is really what this deck is trying to do. Flicker Wisp is double white, which I don't really like, and Mirror Entity is more for like a mono-white aggro deck that really goes big and can flood the board, which is not really what we're trying to do. So none of these really appeal to me. I probably am going to take Flicker Wisp just because we have like a decent amount of fixing, and I could see potentially bringing it in for some type of weird deck, or just some deck that happens to have a lot of things that it's good against. Sundering Growth is also a consideration, but I think we'll take the Flicker Wisp here, and it's not the worst if we have to play it. But I think we have enough playables. We'll take Negate. I don't like to main deck Negate, especially in what I think is going to be a lot more of a creature-based format. But it's definitely a great sideboard card, and we're on enough playables that if the rest of this pack goes badly for us, we'll probably end up playing something like Negate. I'll take an Evolving Wilds here. It's more fixing, which I am a fan of, even though it comes into play tapped. We've got basically 3 of those. I don't trust Prairie Stream to really fix our mana on curve in time enough. So I'll take the Evolving Wilds here. Trophy Mage is good to search up Swords or Crystal Shard, but I'm not prioritizing it. Spellskite's decent, but it doesn't really cohere with the plan of our deck. Peladar Guardian is more of a combo card. We do have Saheeli, obviously, but I don't think it's worth going for something like that. So we'll just take the Evolving Wilds. Alright, Resto Angel is perfect in a deck like this. We've got tons of Mana Wars. Dungeon Geist would also be very good, but just a flash creature in terms of having Dissolve and Spell Queller and Venser and Cryptic Command and stuff like that plays really well. So I'm just going to take this Restoration Angel. It's basically the perfect card for this archetype. And what else do we have? City of Brass I'm actually going to take here. It seems very good in our deck. It's basically just a blue-white dual land that damages us, but it's basically exactly what we need, as I've been explaining. Ajani is a very good card, but it's a 4-drop, and we have plenty of those, and even though it would be easy to splash, I don't think it would really be that much better than any of the 4-drops we currently have, so I'm just going to take Fixing. Alright, Dissipate came around. Interestingly, Reflector Mage didn't. That's sort of surprising. So there's another person in blue-white, or at least a multicolor deck that contains blue and white. But we'll take the Dissipate here. We're happy to play these 3-mana counterspells in a format as powerful as Cube. And so we've got 28 minus 5. We've got 23 playables here. I don't think anything in our board is better than anything we have in the main deck in terms of our plan. So this is probably what we're going to be running with unless we see any really good cards coming around for us. Grafted Warger seems decent. Sterling Wildwood, more fixing. I tend to take fixing whenever I don't really know what else is in the pack that I would want. But I think this Wargear, I underrate it probably sometimes, so I'll take it. Yeah, a lot of stuff in that pack. I could see bringing out of the board, but it would have been on a splash. We do have Evolving Wilds and City of Brass, and this Shivan Reef, so we could have splashed the red cards, but that would have been against an aggro deck where our deck seems already pretty well positioned. We've got a lot of bounce and tempo stuff. All right, Whirler Rogue came around. We do have a lot of 4s, but I think we're definitely going to play that. So the question now is, what do we want to cut? And we definitely probably want to cut something from this range in our curve, although everything there I really do like. Crystal Shard is a very flexible card, and it's very good in our deck, I think. But all of these really do seem very good in our deck. This is definitely a tough one. The cut could be Whirler Rogue. It could be something like Elspeth, although I think having this Elspeth, Frost Titan, and Moloku does give us a very good late game. I might... This is definitely a very tough choice here. I might cut this Mist Raven. We have Sower. We could cut Sower, or we could cut 3. We could cut something like Dissipate. That actually, that might be the play. I don't know. This is definitely really tough. We'll take this sword. Say we play against black-white, we might want to bring that in, even though it's the worst sword. We could cut a 2, but I really like what the 2-drops do to kind of make our other cards a lot more effective. So it feels very bad, but I think I'm going to cut the Mist Raven here. It's just the most expensive Mana War that we have. Yeah, and it doesn't have Flash, which really limits it in terms of us playing at that speed in this deck, which we really want to do. We've got, 2 counter spells, a Spell Queller, Vendilion Click, Venser, Cryptic, Resto. So this deck can easily play at a flash pace, and Mist Raven doesn't really follow up with that plan, even though it's got plenty of synergies with stuff like Restoration Angel, Crystal Shard, although with Crystal Shard, I mean, you can just basically return the creature instead of returning your Mist Raven. So yeah, I think this is going to be the deck. I am definitely happy with this deck. We'll see how it plays out. It's very hard to tell in the beginning of cube formats how good your deck is compared to the average deck, especially if it's a new cube, which this is. So yeah, but I'm pretty happy with how this went. Going with consistent mana, a good curve, and you're always going to get powerful cards. So really, just consistent mana and a good curve and good tempo. And being creature-based and attacking the opponent's life total using time as a resource, I think is a good strategy early on in a cube format, and just in general all the time. So 8 and 4 would give us, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 white sources, which I think is enough. We only do have 3 white 2-drops. I think 9 is plenty, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blue sources, which we do have a ton of double blue and a triple blue. Literally all of our 3-drops are double blue, so I am happy with having that many blue sources. So yeah, I think this will be the deck, and expect for me to be putting up the rest of the games relatively soon. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.